All right, y'all. So look, this video is for all of my real estate wholesalers, all of my bird doggers, all of my deal finders. If you are tired of living from deal to deal, you want to get off that roller coaster income and you want to build something truly passive, like a real passive rental portfolio, then watch this video before you buy your first or your next rental property. All right? Because the reason why I'm making this video is I want to show y'all a creative finance strategy that I've learned from the past few years to use and actually buy and start my rental portfolio. All right, it's a lot of low and no money down strategies out here. You just got to learn them and get to applying them. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the knowledge, it's about what you do with the knowledge, and we got to apply it. All right. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to actually learn a strategy and then apply it with a few action items. All right, stay tuned. So I know when it comes to finding deals, right? So if you're a deal finder or wholesaler agent, our main day-to-day, 9 to 9, I can't even call it a 9 to 5. It's just full-time. What we do is we come across deals. And I know for a fact, whether you're just starting out or you've been doing this for a few years and you're a veteran, you've probably come across some properties where, you looked at it, you walked at it, or you probably just saw the pictures online and you like, wow, this ain't that much. Like this ain't that much that needs to be done. Like I could definitely take this down myself. Or you've actually wholesaled the property or got a commission from it and you've got paid, but then you just drive past that property maybe a year or two down the line like only if I would have just held on to that thing, like I could still be getting paid a little check from it right now to this day. All right, so I know if y'all haven't been there, trust me, I've been there. So that's why I'm starting to transition to building my portfolio more aggressively and more intentionally, right? Because we've all come across opportunities where it's like, yo, all it needs is paint, flooring, new appliances, new countertops, and we got a $2,000 a month rental. But sometimes you have to weigh the pros and the cons. Like, is it better to get a quick nickel, just get the $5,000 commission or $10,000 wholesale fee immediately in the next 30 days? Or you actually put your money up or even structure something where you just come in with low money down and you come in, stabilize the asset, rent it out, and get the steady dribble of cash flow each month. All right, so I'm going to tell y'all about a property that I just closed, a property literally just yesterday with $3,000 to the seller. Okay. All right. So let me just tell y'all a story and then I'm going to actually show y'all the actual numbers, breakdown, show you the HUD, show you the receipts, because at the end of the day, it's a lot of people talking and capping, but I'm going to show you actual receipts. So just to quick rewind, a few weeks ago, one of my good guys I work with, known him in the industry for years now, his name is Kyle. He reached out to me, he said, yo, Ja, I got this property. I sent it out to my buyers list, but everybody's lowballing me, man. Nobody's really being serious with it. I'm like, really? I'm like, what is it? Send me it. Let me see what the details is like. So he sent it to my email. I took a look at it. The pictures look amazing. Like it was renovated, like newly renovated. Like, yo, when did, the person buy this? He was like, yeah, she bought it just like 2-3 years ago. I'm like, really? He was like, yeah. I'm like, wow. Okay. The reason why I asked is because like, yo, why don't we structure subject to, or, maybe even a lease option to see if she's willing for us to come in, buy the house, actually go to closing, right? And give her maybe a couple thousand to walk away with so that way she'll be good to go. And he was like, you know what? I've heard of that, but I've never done it before, so I wasn't sure how to pitch it. He was like, do you mind if we get on a call with her to discuss it? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So he was like, yo, okay, hold on one second. Let me call on three-way. So he called her, and she was such a pleasant lady, beautiful spirit, beautiful soul, a good person to work with. And I told her the situation. Well, let me back up. She told me her situation because at the end of the day, it's all about solving the seller's problems. So she told me she bought the property, and at the time, she had a boyfriend and a full time job. So she moved into this property. It was a double income in the household, and she had a full time job. So everything was steady. But then recently, she's starting to have some health problems at job, which kind of forced her to retire early, which kind of sucks because it's like, yo, if I'm, qualifying based on my income and now my income has changed drastically, then I'm kind of like in a tough position. And she's very responsible, pays her mortgage the first of the month, it's on auto pay. But she saw that her change in income is going to drastically affect her household bills. So she was just thinking ahead, like, look, I'm about to, they're about to force me to retire soon. So I need to make a move with this house. I need to make something shake. Also, on top of that, she had a situation with her partner. They separated. So that took a toll on her too. So it was two sources of frustration and motivation that was really wanting her to sell. So my response to this was obviously empathy, because I could only imagine like what someone would be going through if you go into a house, something that you really like, you want to settle down with, you got your partner, you got your job, everything is going smooth. And then it's like a whirlwind where things just start to fall apart. And she's still trying to piece it together. You could tell by her spirit. She's a strong person, but she was just looking for plan A's and plan B's to just get out of this situation. So I was like, well, every time somebody thinks about selling, they think about reaching out to a realtor. Have you reached out to the realtor to see like if they can help you? She was like, yeah, I reached out to the realtor. He pulled the comps in the area and he was saying, we could sell it for like 138. And I bought it for 145. So he was like, if I sell it at 138, I would have to come to the table with a check to close. And I'm not in that position. I was like, you know what? I don't blame you. Like, I wouldn't even, that's not a very appealing position to be in. So I completely understand. The realtor obviously didn't do a good job because the best thing he could have did was at least try to list it and see what he gets. But for some reason, he just told her like, no, it's not going to be a good idea for me to sell a house. I don't know. Maybe he truly believed that. Maybe he just was busy, or he or she didn't want the time to like really test the market. So at that point, she was kind of over the realtor situation. She was like, she just wants to be done with it and work with an investor. So she got a referral from a friend of a friend to connect Kyle, which connected me, and that's how the situation happened. So it's really just based off of trust and relationships, right? And this business is all about relationships, and you got to have great rapport. So I was like, okay, well, let's set up a meeting to see the house. So I went over there. I went to go meet her in person. Very, like I said, I can't speak. She was a very, very, very nice, educated person. We had a great conversation, a great mutual understanding. And I just laid out the framework of what this looks like, because ultimately what I ended up proposing to her is a sub-2 transaction where I'm going to come in, going to take over her mortgage payments, and rent it out via Section 8. So the first thing I wanted to do was get the numbers, like what's the loan balance, the mortgage, and everything like that. So that way I can even see if it'll cash flow. So last time I checked, her mortgage balance was around like 135-ish. And her mortgage payments was about like 1280. Rents in the area for a 2-bedroom go for like 15, 16. It's not the most amount of cash flow, but I'm banking on the equity and appreciation because it's a very developing area. There's a lot. If anybody knows, Druid Park is going through a massive renovation in Baltimore, as well as the West North Ave corridor is going through some revitalization as well. So I said I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna close on it and hold on to it long term. But since I brought up numbers, why not let me just show y'all the numbers in person. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can pull this up. Or I could pull up the mortgage. Let me see. All right, so this is the HUD right here. We closed March 26, 2026. Now, this is my side. For those that have never seen a HUD 1, this is what the final closing documents when you go to settlement looks like. On the left side, you have the buyer side, and on the right side, you have the seller side. The total purchase price was $148,129, and that included the mortgage, which was $135 or $132, right? $132 was a payoff, and then I believe there was another loan she took out. Maybe this was like $1,000 or something to buy a house. So altogether, the total amount of loans was like $144, something to that magnitude. But then we got to factor in the closing costs, because I did also offer to pay her closing costs, which was state of Maryland. It's ridiculous. It's super expensive. It ended up being something crazy. As long as me paying the transaction coordination and then the wholesale fee, she got $3,000, which I said I bought the house for, right? $3,000. But after all said and done, I ended up coming to the closing for over $16,000, right? I know I said $3,000, which is technically what we did buy the house for, but I know I said $3,000, and that was just, that was a little cap, just a little bit, just to pull y'all into this video. But it is $3,000 that she got. But after paying a wholesaler, which was another $3,500, then closing costs was damn near $8-9 grand. The closing costs in the state of Maryland is ridiculous. You got the insurance is $1,200. Then you got title fees, taxes. The taxes alone is $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. All right. So yeah, altogether I ended up paying $16,500, which again for a newly renovated property is still amazing. So it's not quite $3,000, but it's still good. Now, another way you don't got to pay the whole $16,500 if you don't have it is you can raise money. You can partner with somebody such as myself, or partner with an experienced real estate investor. Because I highly recommend, if you don't have reserves, if you don't know what you're doing, this is not a strategy for newbies. All right. This is for like experienced investors, experienced agents that knows what a deal is. But if you are just trying to start out with your portfolio, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give away my deal analyzer that I use to calculate all my sub-twos to figure out whether it's a good deal or not. So if the link is in the description, feel free to click it and use it to your leisure. If you need help, feel free to reach out, but it's going to be a wealth of knowledge as you try to determine, maybe this doesn't work as a straight cash offer, but does this work as a sub-2 deal? Then you can plug the numbers in there, see if it makes sense. And if it does, roll with it. But if not, please don't force it. All right. Because at the end of the day, deals are found. It's not made. Okay. We're not trying to go out and create deals. Deals are just found based on the situation. So that pretty much wraps up this video. But until the next one, I'll see y'all. Peace. So again, just to recap, there was a lady that bought a house 2, 3 years ago, newly renovated. She bought it, she moved in, paid her bills on time. An unfortunate array of events happened where she just was no longer to keep up with it. And we offered to take over the mortgage, have it stay in her name, and we'll just make the payments on her behalf. And we offered her $3,000 on top of that, and she said yes. Now, obviously, this deal doesn't work for every single scenario, so you have to like be able to use every tool in your tool belt, and subject to is just one of them. When I first started, when I got my first flip, actually was using subject to. Like this was before, I built my credit up. This was before, I didn't want to pay any down payments, no 20% down to a hard money company. I just took over the house and just did the renovations out of pocket. And we ended up selling it like 9 months later, which was a disaster. But that's a whole nother video. That's a whole nother topic for another video. But yeah, ultimately, like you gotta be able to know when to use different strategies based on the situation.